to discourage that kind of conduct in the future. Joining us now is Congressman Michael Burgess. He's a Republican from Texas. And Congressman, do you believe that Joe Wilson should be censured in order to try to make sure members know they shouldn't be doing these sorts of things?
I think Representative Wilson apologized, called the president last night and apologized, as I understand. The president accepted his apology. I think that ends it.
Does it end it, though, when, by Congressman Wilson's own voice today, he was prompted to apologize by the Republican leadership. It was their idea, not his. Doesn't that kind of diminish the apology? And again, back to the point, how do you dissuade your colleagues from doing this kind of thing in the future?
Well, on the issue of leadership, I don't know. I'm not a part of leadership, so you'll have to take that up with people in the know. But as far as I'm concerned, I think there's probably no one in the Congress who would rather have those words back than Joe Wilson. I think he spoke honestly at the point and from his heart. But at the same time, it was we'd invited the president into our house, we'd invited the Senate into our house, and there are rules of decorum that need to be observed.
Congressman, are you at all disappointed that this moment of a bad decision, it seems by all here agree that it was a bad decision on Congressman Wilson's part, that it is overshadowing any ideas that it seems that the Republicans might have today in a counter to what we heard from the president? I mean, this is the GOP's big moment, a man yelling out, "You lie," to the president.
Oh, actually, I don't know if this was the GOP's big moment. This was the president's big moment. I was a little disappointed that the president had not heard the voices from August like many of us did. I came to that speech last night wondering if perhaps we'd hit the reset, rewind, or at least the pause button on this legislation and begin to rework or rethink some of these things. We heard a lot from the American people over August. They don't trust the Congress to do something that's this big.
But what about the president saying that he's listening to ideas brought up by John McCain? He's also brought up the issue of malpractice, something that was brought up by George W. Bush. I mean, he did offer up examples. Were those not valid?
Let me speak to the liability issue, because I have been very outspoken in trying to communicate to the White House on this subject, and to tell you the truth, to this point, I have been ignored by the transition team, by the chairman of my committee, and by the current White House. So this was a last-minute addition, in my opinion. That whether he's genuine or not remains to be seen. Obviously, I've got information going back down to the White House. If you still want to talk, I'm still open to doing so. But we've got a great story to tell in Texas, and we don't need to study it any longer. The results are in, and liability reform works in the medical community in Texas, and it's delivered big time for the state.
And Congressman Michael Burgess, just so we're perfectly clear here, you do believe it was wrong what Congressman Wilson did last night, right?
Well, I think Joe Wilson would agree that
you're allowed to say, Congressman, yes or no. Yes, it was wrong. No, it wasn't. Yes or no. Was it wrong or not?
Well, it was not in accordance with the decorum of the House. But let me quickly add, there were plenty of times I was uncomfortable. There are plenty of times I was uncomfortable about the Democrats' response to George W. Bush. So whether it's right or wrong this time, when the president stood up and talked about his efforts to reform Social Security, and the derision with which
not a single member of Congress, Congressman, as you know, interrupted the president and shouted, "You lie."
I beg to differ. I was in the body that night.
I just think it's too bad, Congressman, that you as an elected member from Texas cannot come on and say that what Congressman Wilson did was wrong. But look, we do appreciate you coming on. You're a guest on the show. We always appreciate you coming on this particular program, even if we disagree. Congressman Michael Burgess, Republican from Texas, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And by the way, we want to know what all of you